Okay, so I'm gonna do a video. I'll talk about what they're talking about. You'll notice a lot of turmeric on my teeth, on my lips, everything. So I showed you guys this in a different video about taking music in school because we had to take music in school in different papers that I could prove that. And I couldn't read my own handwriting on the scale. Does every father find good, ambitious, bright children desirable enough for future goal achievement? That was the scale. Why this is important is because they keep going back and forth about what I said about having taken music or not. And I already discussed this in a previous video. I said I had music, I had musical instruments in my home. I had people in my family who knew how to play, who enjoyed playing, but I could never do it. So they keep going back on that, saying the opposite, that I said that I could play. No. The other big deal is they brought up something that happened, I guess they keep saying at the phone company, so that would have been like between 97 and 2001. And they said someone on the phone said, I was going to use an example about art, and the person was like, well, if you don't have enough experience with art to use an example about art, it's complete stranger. So they said they set that up. I do believe that because that seems like such strange thing to talk about. But what they were saying is that both sides, that they feel like you have to have enough experience in something to have an opinion about it or talk about it. I don't agree with that. But also that they felt that I would get too uppity if I had the experience. Unfortunately, they reminded everyone that it was mandatory to have art and music. So again, this is like a bunch of nonsense. But what they said that was so powerful was that they said they didn't want me to seem like I had the knowledge. But they then said my schools wanted me to seem like I had the knowledge because it looks good for them. This goes back to the whole topic I'm telling you. I'm telling you a lot of different topics for a reason. We're talking about schools. We're talking about making sure students learn and not just get passed along and not have anything to show for being there. I think these people think that young people sit in a classroom for their health or because they have to. No. I'm telling you, as someone who was a young person, I wanted to learn. I knew a lot of people, my friends, we wanted to learn. We weren't there just to look good or get a grade. We were there to actually learn so that when we went out to get a job or to interact with people, we could speak into like an intelligent adult. This group of liars can't understand. You wouldn't have to clone people if you could actually do these things. I have a whole lot of posts about things they're cloning. Athletes. If you could actually do the work of a professional athlete, you wouldn't have to look at a professional athlete and clone that person's moves in order to achieve the goal. You would just do it. Partly what I'm adding all of this up to is that if these are the types of people who I've even said, like after around 2000 or something, we became a society where people could just create talents with AI or with, fake voice thing or with, computers, as opposed to actually having the talent. It doesn't in any way make the person who actually has a talent less. It makes it cheap. It makes it more, you see it more, but the person with the actual talent will always have more value. And this is what I'm talking about. When they keep trying to say I don't have value, they wouldn't have cloned me if I didn't have value. That's a big deal. But tying that together with everything else, it goes back to the idea that we we used to think of an education as having value. That's the reason an education was necessary. It wasn't just to keep kids busy during the day, it was to give them more value. And once we started using computers to substitute value, it didn't give the world more value, it took away some value. And why does that matter? Is because if I can come on here, they were like, you're going to sing. I am not a singer. Why should I waste your time listening to me try to sing when there are talented singers and musicians I put on a playlist, by the way, that I would prefer to listen to them myself? So we're talking a bigger issue here, and I'm glad that this is coming up over and over again with them, because the bigger issue is that they're trying to dilute talent by substituting human talent, which is rare. It's everyone has something, but very few people can be a good singer. Very few people can be a good musician. Would you really want to sit and watch me try to play the piano when there are talented piano players out there who can play the piano? No. We're talking about, being in a real world where people with the real talent should not aren't being seen as less valuable. To me, the more I see a lot of this fake, phony, computer generated stuff, the more I crave real talent and actually search for it. But that goes back to what we've been talking about in terms of schools. If your school is just interested in passing kids along, they're not giving the kids the education they deserve. And to lie on my schools where they forced us to learn certain things and then say I don't have the ability to give an opinion on art when we took art, when we studied art, music, when we took music, where we studied music, is just another way for them to completely discount the education system. Because it was on my job, I just let it go. Had it been reality, I would have said, then I'll give you the number to my school so you can discuss that with them. Thank you for watching.